Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello.
Hello, happy Friday. Cheers.
Happy Friday. Court is adjourned.
Is it ever?
Yes, adjourned. And I want to highlight this. There was a new city scenery. Did you catch?
I did catch it. It was very exciting.
It feels so real now. I've seen the landscape, but the verdict, not guilty. And we saw the reactions, and it was hilarious to watch, like watching Alexa's face, Drew's face at the court, like all of it. Like, what did you think of those scenes?
Okay, so here's the thing. Right now, I'm not going to lie, I'm loving Willow. I'm trying to see Willow in this space separate from the custody battles. If you just
Mm-hmm.
take who she is
Fair.
now and her leaning into all of this is what we've kind of been waiting for. This is the beginning stages of that detour to Nellville. Like,
Yes.
I relished in every single moment where she made sure to thank every single person. And the last person was Drew. Drew was like witnessing something outside of his body. He was like hovering
Oh,
over her
yeah.
praise of Alexis. And she knew
Yeah.
exactly what she was doing. Every word that came out of her mouth, her googly eyes to Chase, like watching every single moment of that was just so delicious.
It was. I absolutely loved Drew's face because I think he thought she would only thank him, which wouldn't make
Yep.
any sense when you're standing around multiple people. Like, and also just taking credit. I told you I was psychic. I told you it would work out this time. Remember last time when I told you you wouldn't lose your kids and you did? This time I wasn't wrong. So,
What are
yeah,
the
no.
odds?
So you have all of that going on, the really bizarre dynamics, like Chase getting invited to the
Partying?
celebration. Oh, Chase was something though.
Mm,
Oh,
mm.
so, like, you point out Drew's face, so we know that Drew saw Kai talking to Michael, and then, obviously, he saw Chase, talk to Alexis. It's just weird, okay? Like, we've watched Chase throughout the week, but just to be at the courtroom and to be like, "Yes, I was right. Thank you, Alexis, for setting my ex-wife free."
Here's the thing about Chase right now, and
Ugh.
and they're I don't know what the writers have in store for him, but it
A
must be big
downfall?
because no, but how big is this downfall? Because every single day in our 4 episodes this week, they just pushed and pushed our buttons.
It's gonna
Exactly that moment with Alexis,
Mhm.
the celebration with the flowers, and we'll get into more detail in all these places. But they're really amping up every single scene he has. It's making us angrier and angrier and angrier. And
Yeah.
he's just digging his heels. And I'm like, usually when somebody thinks they're right, even with Nina, I don't feel it was paced in this way when she was trying to stand her ground. So, like, how big is Chase's fall?
I mean, it's Chase, so it's gonna be, like, on a smaller scale, but I think big enough to blow up his marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Big
Mm-hmm.
enough to blow up his marriage, and even though we don't think it's possible, his career more. Like, I think that, like, right now it looks bad, but I think those are the 2 most important things, right? Like, Brooklyn and his police work. So I feel like those things are gonna implode, even further, but I so look forward to his downfall for sure. Some other things going on, other important reactions is Trina and Kai. And the
Yes.
words we've been shooting around were finally said, double jeopardy.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know that Willow, maybe she does. Like you point out, Willow knows exactly what she's doing. But part of me, as I watched the week go on, I was like, I don't think she knows what double jeopardy means. It only covers one crime. And I feel that ultimately, when the verdict was rendered, it's like to Willow, it was like, my powers are back. I can do this more.
I can
Because
murder again.
but but to be honest, yes.
Yeah.
Because
True.
you'll remember this, it was when they were all being prepped for trial,
Yes.
and I think Suzanne was like, "I don't believe you, or you're not coming off this way,
Yes.
and you're not gonna make a good witness." So I think that, like, that was the moment I think Willow was really freaked out that her act wasn't being bought. You know, like that's
Yes.
how I felt when I was watching this. The way I saw Willow's story was I'm Willow, I'm perfect. Everyone kind of loves me. Nina and all these other rotten people, they're just clearly bad and evil. And then as things progressed and she started stepping into the gray and started making mistakes, she was really fighting back against that because all of a sudden, for the first time in her life, she's getting backlash. And I think the biggest hurt for her was like, but I'm Willow. Like that's how I've
Yes.
seen her arc. And then as she went through this trial, it was like, but I need that superpower. And oh no, it's really not working. Like I'm not really fooling anyone. And it was almost like truth, reality. We're getting closer to that and away from this idea of me. And I feel like with the verdict for Willow, it was like, yay, the idea of me is back and cemented. And now I'm going to use
Yes.
that.
Yes, I like that.
So that's how I sort of see her. Michael was there and he immediately leaves. And I wanted to know what you thought about this. When Michael leaves, Sonny shows up at the Quartermains and super supportive as always. I don't
I can
care if you did it. You probably did, but I don't care. I laugh because when you compare like Sonny to Jason, and
Yes.
like the actor has kind of talked about how he feels he's stepped up. You know, like the character Jason has always stepped up where Sonny couldn't. Like he takes care of Carly and Michael and all that stuff. And I find it so
Yes.
funny because like Jason just supports Carly and Michael. And he said to Michael what he needed to hear. No, no, I believe you. And those are the things that Sonny just cannot do when it comes to Michael or Carly. Like that just 100% faith, kind of.
It's so brutal, right? Because
Yeah.
we know all the phases of Sonny, how he was so dedicated to how good of a person Nina is. And he just like picks and chooses where his loyalty lies, but claims
Yeah.
to be this super family person. So, no, it was really frustrating. And I can understand why Michael's anger was amped up that day for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah, and I wonder this might be, like, a stretch, but, like, the way that Sonny is so focused on Willow, like, Willow couldn't go to jail, Willow should have access to her children. I kinda just wonder, is this just him learning his lessons? Because I mean, he spent a long time trying to kinda keep Carly away from the kids, right? He had his own custody battles.
Hmm.
And so part of me wonders, not that they're saying it explicitly, but it's just funny watching Sonny take this stance when he's clearly taken the opposite stance in the past. And part of me just wonders if that's just him growing up and learning from, what he put his kids through, that there shouldn't be a fight and both parents should be involved.
I mean, fair, that's a really good point. Sunny's been really kind of interesting this week because not only was there that moment of him like not believing in Michael and their weird, history and how far they've come. So him saying that was really heavier in that moment than it would normally be.
And that's been his stance, like, the whole time, right? Like, when he
Yeah.
found this out, he was pretty much convinced Michael did it and was running around trying to protect him. But what I thought was really interesting, they were dressed the same. They were wearing the same
Oh,
colors, and I wasn't sure what that meant. Like, yes, you're right. This was amped up, angry Michael. And then Sunny walks in, and they just didn't know what to make of that. Like, we always talk about, what's next in terms of, like, the mob. Because, like, I don't really see the mob disappearing. I kinda don't want it to. Not that I want any of
yes.
these children to, like, take on
Oh
crime,
gosh.
but as a viewer, love it if somebody would take on the crime. That's how this world works. You have the PCPD that are supposed to be the good guys on paper, and then you're supposed to have these bad guys, but in Port Charles, the bad guys are the good guys, and they basically, care about the town, and they find the bad guys for the PCPD. I don't know, like, I took Michael out of this equation ages ago, that he would ever kind of take on a role like that, but I didn't know what to think because of the wardrobe. And I don't know if it's because that darker side of Michael has been brought up a lot lately. And it's been a conversation a lot of people are having. People are talking about their perceptions of Michael, what he's been through. People are pointing to the fact that he can be a lot of things, that he has this darker side. So I don't know if that wardrobe choice for both of those guys had to do with just amplifying Michael's darker side and kind of showing us where this came from, or if it's any type of like foreshadowing about Michael's path. But I just can't see him doing that because he is trying to live a certain life for his kids.
I like the way you're laying it out, and I saw it a little bit differently.
Hmm.
It's that it's the same but different in the sense that yes, he grew up with Sunny, and yes, he may have a lot of those characteristics, and he may have seen a lot, and he has the anger, even though there's no DNA there. Essentially, that's who raised him. But just emphasizing that all those bad things can happen to you, life can happen to you. You can still deal with very big emotions, but choose a very different path for yourself.
I think that's probably more accurate to like what we're seeing and what they're showing us because I think it's pretty clear, Michael doesn't want his kids touching that life. But I
Hmm.
love that you're putting it. It's not black or white. And he may not want his kids to ever touch that life or to have anything to do with the mob or crime, but his darkness is still there. And like you point out,
Yes.
there's just a different way to kind of manage that. Sonny wasn't the only visitor Michael had. He's not a visitor, he just lives
Okay,
there.
okay. How did you feel about that? Because I had so
Can't.
much rage.
Well, so much rage. Like just hearing Chase, be so confident. I mean, it's even worse, right? Because for the audience, we know the
Hmm.
truth. And like you pointed out, there's just this pacing when it comes to Chase. There's the choices he's making, and I kind of love it, right? He went on this road, and we already knew it was touchy the way he was investing in Willow. And it wasn't just so much like, oh, it's his ex-wife. It wasn't really that. It was
Hmm.
really just inappropriate. It was really just, oh, wow, look at this guy. He's making the wrong choice, having faith in the wrong person. That's really how I saw it, you know?
Yes.
So that's what that story is that Chase is just making really bad choices. He's not Mr. Perfect. He thinks he has this idea of how the world works. And clearly, even in today's episode, well, he referred to building his career back, but he's done it
Hmm.
multiple times. He didn't just do it when he like punched Valentine or something like that and he was off the force for a while. But let's remember, he came to town and changed jobs because of Nell, right? He slept with a suspect.
He really's got a thing for those sisters.
He hasn't learned a lesson. You know what I mean? To
No.
to be so self-righteous, to see the law the way that he does, right? Like he believes in the law, but when a lady is involved and she acts like a victim, then the thing that he's lived his whole life for goes out the window.
Hmm.
And it's just
Huh.
crazy that something so significant didn't impact him, especially when it's that girl's sister, like twin sister. Not one part of you goes like, huh, familiar. Should I take a step back? So I think with Chase, that's the story we're watching. We're finally getting this like squeaky clean character, you know, in the mud a little bit, and it's been insane. And I think that the audience having that reveal that Willow shot him just amplifies it, and him walking around justifying his actions. Like he's had conversations with Justine in the courtroom,
Hmm.
Dante, and I'm so happy Dante called it out. Like it's hard for us to take it when these people do ridiculous things and they can't own up to it. And I loved that when he met with Dante, that Dante was like, dude, like you got to take accountability for what you did. Like you can tell yourself you're right. And part of me just wanted to scream at Chase and be like, don't you dare whine.
Hmm.
Don't you dare whine. Because from what I remember, you thought Willow was worth it. So
Yeah.
enjoy. You knew what the risks were. Enjoy. Why are you acting like you get to do this with no consequence? You literally told Alexis, I don't really care. So, like, suck it up and take what's given to you. If you're so right and you believe in yourself and you think you did the right thing, all of our choices come with a cost. Even when we think we're doing the right thing, we sometimes have to pay something. This is what you're paying. So, seriously, stop the whining.
I know, like, right on everything you're saying. Like, honestly, it was so hard to watch him take this, like, stance against everything. And you made a point earlier about the arrest and the whole damsel in distress. And it just gave me, like, my videographic memory brought me to when, all that stuff was happening at the beginning before he was interested in Brooklyn and the arrest there. And she's just like a strong woman.
Hmm.
And do you remember like how those arrests went down? Like it was nothing like the situation with Willow. So it's like the whole thing of what you actually want versus what you're actually going to
Oh,
accept.
yeah. Yeah. He's
Like the
one of,
Brooklyn is the ideal woman, but Willow's always going to be the person that's going to trick him.
yeah, like, I just think he's one of those men who
Mm.
believes that, I can be with a strong woman who's like can take care of herself and be like in an equal partner situation. But from what we've seen, Chase likes to take care of. And the thing is, Brooklyn went through a lot with Geo, but she could handle it. Like that's what Brooklyn did. She experienced something really difficult and she faced it and she like literally went right through it. And it wasn't something that Chase could save her from. He could support her, right? he could hug her,
Yes.
he could be around, but he couldn't go through it for her. And while she was dealing with the Geo things, he ran to somebody who has no problem playing the victim. And during that
Yes.
time when that was going on and they weren't adopting because like bigger things were happening, he ran to Willow because Willow is like always in need. Like that's her shtick. And so that honestly disappoints me about Chase. And even today, his conversation with Brooklyn, like it was driving me
Yes.
nuts that he couldn't acknowledge her perspective. Like, I'm sorry, it's a little Looney Tunes. Like, you come
Yes.
home basically saying, my career is at this crossroads. I'm losing the biggest thing. Let's have a baby now that I have time.
Wild,
Where was
wild.
this "I want a baby" when, the trial was happening? Like, you weren't bugging Brooklyn for a baby when you were helping Willow. So
Exactly.
that just bothered me because that's not a couple's decision. That's you needing something to do, and you kept bulldozing Brooklyn, and I would feel uneasy too. It's like, this is a big deal. Something huge happened, and then you're asking for something huge, and then you're trying to be like, "Oh, you don't want this. Why? You don't think it's a good idea? I really wanna be a dad." It's like, dude, like, take a step back. So I think that as this moves forward, their relationship will be challenged because Chase is not being honest about what he's doing. Like he doesn't see what he's doing with Willow and he doesn't see what he's doing with this whole baby thing. And I just find it really dismissive to just be like, that's how this works. You wanted time with Geo. Now everything's good. So we should have it now. Like, I'm sorry. Like, life is not that black or white. And that's not how you have that conversation.
My gosh, and, like, honestly, Brooklyn has the patience of a saint. I mean, she doesn't know about the party and the flowers yet and punching Michael, so we'll see how all of that
Right.
goes, but the fact that Chase doesn't understand so what Willow's doing to him, he's basically taking advantage. I wouldn't say take advantage of Brooklyn, more that he has never once acknowledged the effect his actions have on her.
No, no. Like, not at all. Like, the actions he took with Willow, like, I think for Brooklyn, when she had defended him in front of Willow, like, basically just being really protective, it always looks like she's looking out for him, but you're right. He has absolutely not acknowledged how this hurts Brooklyn or how it looks. And it's not even about a jealousy thing that it's your ex. It's the
Mhm.
fact that your lives that you're building are at risk based on the decisions you're making. And
Yes.
if you're making decisions, they should amplify the life you have together, not put it at risk. And I just think it sucks, but Chase is not in the right headspace and he doesn't really understand what like a true partnership is. And I think where he's taking advantage of Brooklyn is that whole he's now victimizing himself. I
Yes.
did the right thing. And even when he was talking to Dante, I literally, the way Chase was sounding, the way he wasn't taking responsibility, pointing fingers at everyone else, I was like, you belong in the Drew Willow sphere.
Yes.
And pre-Nina, Nina at a certain time and point, like that's where he belonged. But as for the whole Michael thing, man, did he cross a line. Like he started pushing it with
Oof.
Dante by saying, yeah, like you should totally go after your brother. And then when he was there with Michael to blatantly just go like, you should be in jail, you should lose your kids. This it's insane. And I don't think
Insane.
it's a stretch. While I've said this is not really about a Chase being obsessed with Willow in the sense of what's his ex? Because like
Mhm.
I don't even consider that real. Whatever they
Right?
had when they got married, but just the idea of him losing himself. And I think it was fair from Michael's perspective to say that because you've literally risked your life. You're the life that you built for this person. And he actually, this is the thing that kind of hit me the most in that moment. We all know how Chase sees Willow, but
Uh-huh.
when Michael kind of says, like, you don't really know her, and I realize that's true. Like, Drew
Yes.
fell in love with an idea of Willow. That's pretty much Chase and Willow too. Like they had a relationship, but when we talk about like Chase and the damsels in distress, I think about when Willow first came to town, the way he was like trying to help her. And I think about, even when he got married and he was sick, like he sees her in a very saintly way. And the only
Mhm.
person who had a real relationship with her was Michael. None
Yes.
of those men has had like a real relationship or know her or have been with her as long as Michael has. He had a massive friendship with Willow before they were together. So I just think it's so telling, this idea that Chase and Drew find it so unbelievable that Willow could be multidimensional. She's like, no, she's just this 2D cutout of just innocence and sweetness.
Yes.
So I don't know. And then look, like you said, it was just disgusting. It was hard to
Mhm.
watch. The only thing that made it better was that Chase started something he couldn't finish. He laid into Michael with a punch, and Michael got 3 more.
Yes, it was so good.
I just felt like Michael should have said, like, "I'm reporting you." You know?
That would have
"You're a
been the best
cop."
part.
Yeah, I think that would have been amazing, and then Jason came in and saved the day.
I loved that.
And I don't know what Brooklyn is gonna do. She has a great relationship with Michael, and like you pointed out, she's missing information.
She is missing a lot of information.
And we've noticed that as the story has progressed, like, some information kinda trickles in, and it's never from Chase. So, I don't know, like, I just think I think that, like, it's like a slow downfall, and I think there's more for Brooklyn to learn, and there's likely more dumb things for Chase to do.
Accurate.
So, the celebration, okay? I love
Tell me
that
everything.
Alexis said some weird stuff in the courtroom that had, like, Drew going, "Huh? Why you
He was
say
really
stuff
trying
like
to
that?"
think hard. He was trying to piece so many things together in so many parts of that, like, leading up to the verdict. It was his little wrinkly face, just
Yeah.
observing everything. It was hilarious. I have to give, like, an early face acting star to him.
Yes, but, like, Alexis said stuff, including in front of Chase, like, "Hold up your end of the bargain." Like, that was very clear as day. She was blackmailed into defending Willow.
Yes.
So the little celebration happens. Chase gets invited despite how he feels about Drew. And oh my gosh, that was something that came up in the fight with Michael, that he was like, Willow is a victim of Drew's. Like, he refuses to acknowledge that she should be, like, accountable for some of her choices.
Yes.
Anyways, so back to the celebration. So this did not hit me until today. Just the
Okay.
how it sounded. So when Nina was at the hospital today and she saw Lucas, he's like, "I can only divulge information to family." And then Nina goes, "Drew's my son-in-law." And I was like,
Yeah, lots of mail.
"True." And then I flashed to the scenes. First of all, I couldn't believe this, okay? Nina arrives, the ultimate in dismissiveness in "You're not a person." Like, we talked about this, right?
I
How, like,
know.
Nina and Drew talk about next steps for Willow. Like, they talk about her life without her kind of in the conversation. Like, she's not in the conversation of her own lives. And we know how she feels about Drew. So she's obviously, like, playing her part. But the fact that Drew literally goes to her, "I want to talk to Nina alone," and dismissed her. They don't have business. They don't like each other. Was insane to me.
I'm surprised. Like, I know why that scene had to go the way it did and Nina
Mm.
leaving. But at the end of the day, Nina knows that there's no love there and that what Drew is saying is she can basically ignore everything he's saying. It's not going to go anywhere.
Exactly, right? So that's what I mean. When I saw those scenes, again, we didn't know what was coming. And like you said, it makes sense. But in those moments, I was like, what is she doing? Like, let Drew do this because we know that Willow is not going to go along with it and for her to stand her ground. But I think ultimately, based on how the week progressed, like, Nina's confused and we're going to watch her be confused until, like, it hits her.
Yes, I love it.
And that's gonna be rough for Nina to sit with. But in that interaction, after having seen today's episode, realizing he's the son-in-law, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, if I had realized all this time Nina's role and position as mother-in-law, which trumps Drew, I would have literally been, like, more stern with him and been like, 'Call me mother.'" And I would have stayed. Like,
Imagine.
when I realized that, I was like, I wish that before he slipped into, like, coma land, that we got a moment where Nina just, like, stood up to him and be like, "Call me mother. I'm not going anywhere, little boy." And I would have loved if she role reversaled and really treated him like son-in-law, like younger, like beneath her. I think that would have been so funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you just made me realize something. So he's gonna go into a coma, and
Mhm.
then we get Maxie back. I think it's like mid-February, so that way there's only like there can only be like one person in a coma at the same time.
Oh my gosh, this coma musical chairs is just insane to me.
It really is.
So now they're alone. She sends Scout to Alexis. Even that dynamic I find really interesting because it's a lot to struggle with, right? Like, we see Alexis. For her, she knows a lot of her clients are probably guilty, but I think it sucks to know for sure in your mind. Like, in her mind, Like, it's confirmed that Willow is guilty. So that's tough, right? Because she's like, Willow is a killer. But she's giving me my granddaughter, and apparently she's continuing to torture Drew and putting him out of the picture. So I had to defend a guilty woman, but she's giving my granddaughter back and solving my Drew problem. Huh.
This is the thing, and this is why this story is so complex and beautiful because if you take Michael out of the equation, she's doing everybody a favor,
Mhm.
including herself, and helping people moving forward. Like, I think Kai's career is going to take off because he's going to have to take more responsibility in Drew's office. Willow can live her life. Scout can see her whole entire family. Like, it's so interesting. And then once you bring Michael in, okay, it's layered again. But at this point in time, if I'm just looking at the Willow story, I am
Yes.
absolutely loving this bad guy doing a horrible thing, but it benefits so many people.
So many people, and I love what you say. And you're right, though. When you pull Willow away and you kind of distinguish Willow as her story with Drew versus the custody, it does change things, and there's a lot to be enjoyed with that alone. But you're absolutely right, and I feel like that was the advice Nina was giving because I was listening because we figured that he would work for Michael, but then it was interesting how Nina was like, "Well, just see how your role goes." I'm like, "I've never seen this in my life. He's a congressman. Kai is like a college intern, and now what? He's gonna play congressman? Like, this
Maybe.
is funny. Like, what exactly would be your role?" So I just love that because Trina and Kai had a whole conversation about this, and it was so interesting where they arrived. That from Trina's perspective, she's like, being with Drew is punishment enough.
Yes.
And I was like, that's funny that you say that. That's what you believe, but what is Trina and Kai like, how are they gonna feel knowing that, like, well, no, she doesn't have to be with Drew, like, she took care of that.
Yeah, she good.
And when you talked about, like, Scout being able to see all of her family, because Alexis had last left off telling Danny, "I think it could happen soon." And now I'm remembering that Willow said, "We'll revisit that based on his prognosis."
Yes, exactly.
And so now that we know the prognosis, I'm wondering, wow, what legally can Willow do, right? As a legal guardian, I'm guessing she can now make decisions of who Scout can and cannot see. But again, like you said, you can divide Willow. Willow, how she dealt with Drew, Willow custody. But now I have to look at Willow through this small lens, and that part's really messed up. How can you look Scout in the eye? Like, again, Scout can
Oof.
benefit, obviously, from her
Yes.
dad out of the picture, but she's a child and she lost her mother, right? And while she is suffering because of him, I think it is a big deal to make her an orphan. And you tried twice.
That's not funny.
It's
Messed
just
up.
like I feel like it's a lot. Like on paper, making a child an orphan feels huge. And I wonder how that plays out in a custody hearing. The kid she had in her custody, right? She attempted to make an orphan twice
That
so
won't
she
go
could get her
well.
other kids back, you know? Like they'd be like, the judge would go, "What do you mean making this child an orphan would get you your kids back? Did it occur to you to just be single?" You know?
No, but you
Someone
putting it
might
this
ask.
way, it's hilarious.
Someone might ask, like, how come you didn't choose to be single? Like, when you realized you hated him, how come you didn't decide to just hate him and then go to work and then maybe live with your mom? Remember how your mom wanted to buy you a house? Remember how you said you
Yes.
needed somebody with power? Do you remember how Drew became a congressman? Your mama. Your mama had connections. And it's
Yes.
your mom's connections that led Drew down that political path and got him to where he was. So
Does
this
she know
whole
that?
she has to know this, okay? So this whole thing about like, I need Drew, this military guy who like lost his memory and then had implanted memories and then found out he was a quartermain and then stumbled into money he didn't earn. He's so powerful after my mom connected him to other politicians and ran his campaign. Why would my mom, heiress, and who's known rich people all her life, how could she help me?
I have no idea.
So I can't with that, the whole, like, relying on Drew, so I feel like the judge would be like I feel like people will have questions, and I cannot wait for the truth to come out, and what I found was so cool is watching Kai be in that circle, watching Willow, because he's like, "I know what you're capable of," and part of me is wondering, "Huh,
It was amazing,
what's going
honestly.
on here?" And so that was crazy, right? They're celebrating. She sends Scout to Alexis, and that's already bold, right? Like she's playing a role. Like you pointed out, she complimented Alexis to drive him crazy. The way she was with Chase, she didn't hold back in front of him. It was making him upset. He dismissed her like she's literally Scout, and she let him do it. It
Yes.
was really interesting, and I feel like it was bold of her. The way she sent off Scout and made that decision.
Hmm.
And then with the whole champagne thing happening, I was stunned. I was watching it, I'm like, "This girl is crazy." Like, that's
I
all I
love
kept
it
thinking. I'm like,
hard.
"She is crazy." And I'm like, "She doesn't understand double jeopardy." Like, this is insane. Like, this is how protected she feels. That verdict did a lot to embolden her. The fact that she's like, "I got acquitted of murder. I obviously would never try again the night I got acquitted." Wink, wink. And then she does. And then she makes quite the display, like, the way she made the display with Elizabeth more than once,
Yes.
the crying out loud hysterically at the place, and then Nina being like, you never had to cry because you don't love him." It was so weird how
It's
she
so
approached that.
funny. So funny.
And then it was weird with Willow, like, how she responded and all of that stuff, and I found it so funny because before he even came in, like, before Drew had arrived to the hospital, Lucas and Liz were having a conversation. That was, like, one of my favorite lines when he was listening to Elizabeth, I don't know, talk about Drew, I guess, and he was like, "What year is it in Drew's house?"
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
That was my favorite line, and Tracy was there being like, "Well, he's my nephew," and I'm like, "What is wrong with Lucis?" You know what? He's acting kinda Lucy, to be
Yes.
honest. What is wrong with Lucas? Like, he's there to give, like, devastating news on a patient. He looks at Tracy and is like, "I'm just surprised you're here." Why are you diving in to family drama? Like, stick to the facts, and
So
nobody finds it
good.
weird. Like, I know that Willow's a nurse, but the fact that she keeps reciting medical
I know.
information
I know.
regarding
It's so wild.
I was like, "It sounds like she knows this really super well," you know? Like, she's trying to finish the sentences to, like, close this chapter of her life, and when she walks off and, like, disposes of her needle, I'm just thinking, "Aren't there cameras?"
Cameras, you get rid of the napkin as well. Why did you put it back in your purse? Like, there was just so much there.
So much, you know? And I'm just wondering at what point will Dante kind of help or even Michael? Like, at some point, is Michael gonna look deeper into his suspicions because there will be evidence? Like, Dante had offered to look at traffic cams to show
Mhm.
that Willow was at the house during those incidences with Daisy, and he never did.
Yes. No, he did not.
And they suspected that she was part of the baby switch, and they never looked into it. So I really hope that since footage exists, that we're gonna get some.
I
And
hope
then,
so
like,
too.
I think Dante said he'll crack the code. He'll be like, "I'll find out who did it." And I'm like, "I don't know."
I don't
It's me.
Dante actually closing a case, like, or solving a case, like, it's not possible.
I don't know, but I really do want it to come out that that Brennan erased it for Nina, though.
Yes, I'd so want that.
Like, Carly's gonna murder him anyway, but, like, if she
Yeah.
can murder him harder as a result, I'd be like, "Okay, I'm
Murder
not
him
gonna."
slower,
I'm
slow death.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna get in the way of that. And that's a whole other situation. Okay. So a lot's going down with that storyline. What happened to Jocelyn? She's sleeping now? She's been sleeped?
Take a nap.
What did they do to her? She was deactivated. I don't know when this girl was activated, to be honest, but she was deactivated. And did you know she walked away from the five poppies with a reputation? I'm like, for what? Shakily handling a gun? And they were made and she was taken. Like, what do you mean? Like, how would she have developed a reputation for like anything good?
Okay, so here's the thing. You know how I feel so much way about Brennan. But in
Yes,
that moment when he
I
was at
know.
her house, I had to just take that moment for what it is. A man in love with her mom and deeply caring for her. And he really like dadded her. You know, like when your dad's like, you're a really good singer, but you're like a freaking horrible singer. That's what he did to Joss. Like, you're like such a super good spot. You have like a super good reputation. You have like a secret file in my office and we like super love you. So I'm going to keep you secret, but I'm going to tell you all these good things. And now you have to nap.
It was something. I guess for me, like, I just found it funny, like, when he was telling her, like, "Well, that guy's not gonna care about you," and I loved how she's like, "Well, yeah, 'cause I love with my mom." Like, she was like, "I know the job I signed up for." But I think in that moment, I was like, don't do this because they're making him like
I
look like
know.
he cares. And I'm like,
I
I
know.
don't need him to look like he cares
I don't
now.
like to play with my feelings like this.
I just, so I see what they're doing and they're basically making it confusing. Confusing. So anyway, so she was put to sleep, told not to go to Windermere.
Go school.
Yeah, I'm like, that sucks. You know what I mean? Like, you have a job. They're like, we're not going to pay you right now. It's like, I want to know, do you get paid when you sleep? Because if you're not getting paid, you're like, okay, go to school. That's your mission. And be like, no, I feel like I'm paying money for tuition and having to do classes. I don't like that vibe because I was working full time. So yeah,
Right?
that sucks for Joss. But this whole stitch is getting out of hand. Okay. It
Mhm.
starts out nice. Like, look, when Britt told Jason to wear the blue suit, that I could not argue with.
I totally agree. That was the best suit I've ever seen.
Yeah. So
Damn.
yeah, so I was like, fine, do that. So I like angrily witness or watch the storyline. But it really always echoes in my head when you talk about like how she's like immature. And I will say, like, I did root for Britt and Jason at one point, like when they first started their storyline. And it was different, right? Because she was more serious and more evolved and she was really trying. And I feel like the person
Mhm.
who came back is not mature. She's not who she was before she died.
No. No, she is not.
Like, not at all, and her stupid plan, you know what I
The
mean? Like,
worst plan.
it was so stupid, like, it's not like Jason doesn't know what's happening, it's not like before where when he found out she was alive and he was willing to kinda let her be because he was gonna respect the wishes of she wants to kinda live out her whole health thing on her own. That he could
Mhm.
respect. But once he put 2 and 2 together, like, he put more than 2, he put 2, 3, 4, 5, that
Yes.
she was taken against her will, that she's being held captive by medication, she's doing things she shouldn't be doing, probably relating to, like, Faison. Like, he put all of that together, which honestly is, like, 90% of her situation.
Yes.
He offered her outs multiple times. He was like I said multiple time. So, multiple individual singular incidents I have got you.
Yes. Yes.
So, he said we should take your medication and reverse engineer it, and she was like, "Why
Yes.
would I do that when I could be blackmailed?"
And have everybody I love threatened. I want that hard.
Like, this is what drives me nuts about this storyline. It's that why? It's similar to like Anna being abducted and no one understands why. There's so many components of this storyline. You're like, does this need to be happening? Like, is this part of it? You know, at its core, it just feels very extra, like sprinkles. We don't always need a ton of sprinkles. So this whole thing is just insane. So she's just like, no, I'm gonna, go at it this alone because he won't remove Carly from his life. And what she wants is pick me over her because we had one date. Okay. I
Yeah.
spent all this time pushing you away and being less than reliable. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think choose me. Pick me. Do
La la.
I pick you? I don't know. We're so different. I like to party. You don't. Haven't met your son. But you should pick me. Your son is
Oof.
friends with my pretend son. So we should make a family. Like it's so bizarre to me. Like you could have ended things with Jason without actually involving Carly. Like it doesn't do anything.
Honestly.
And because he knows 90% of your story, he's going to hunt you down because he'll assume it's associated with that. Literally, he saw you like 2 minutes ago where you're like, wear a blue suit. Let's do another date. I want to throw my money at you. You know what I mean? She did all that.
Yeah.
So I just can't. It's just so convoluted. And I feel like the way she went about this crisis is immature. But then they show her in scenes where she's worried about Rocco and she doesn't want him to be hurt. And I'm just like, I just can't. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't get behind it at all. Like, the way her and Jason are, like, if you want to put them together, but there's just no excitement, and I don't really see it. And what I can't believe I'm about to say
Mm.
after I don't even know how many episodes I talk about Jason and Carly's relationship, I think I'm, like, good with the conversation they had today.
Okay, I was gonna ask you. I'm like all the stuff about Brett.
Yeah.
How did you feel of the conclusion? Like that we haven't had a conversation that raw and honest with
Right?
Carly and Jason in such a long time. And I love the way they spinned it in the sense that, usually it's Jason the one that's leading these conversations and trying to get
Exactly.
her on the same page. And the fact that Carly was the one to remain calm the entire time. He was the one that accused her, and she just laid out what her life has been. Like, we exactly talked about this last week as to
Mhm.
how far she's come and the life she's built, and he's still playing catch up with his life,
Yeah. So, to be honest, kinda satisfied. Like, literally, all
right?
we needed was one conversation to just understand their dynamics, right? You have
Mhm.
Britt complaining to Jason, you have Joss calling Carly out, and I'm like, "So what does this mean?" All we needed was Jason and Carly just telling us what it means. That's all I needed, you know? Yes, I would have wanted a chance for Carly and Jason to be together, but I'm also willing to follow the story that they're telling. And I just felt it was so weird that we couldn't just get one scene of addressing something that they themselves won't stop bringing up. And they bring it up, but they don't resolve it. So to be honest, that conversation was super satisfactory to me. Like when he asked her, what'd you say to her? I was like so offended. I
Yes.
was so offended, but that's exactly it. It's so spot on what you said, is that once the conversation happened, there was a massive role reversal,
Yes.
because he's not around. He wasn't around when she grew. So that was kind of interesting. Like we didn't get to see that. We didn't get to see them reacclimate to each other. It's very intense. Your best friend comes back from the dead, the person who's really always had your back in a way that nobody else has, but in his absence, she learned how to have her own. He comes back, turns out he sacrificed 2 years of his life for you, and that's a lot of intensity, and none of it was resolved. None of it was addressed. They did not have a conversation about what happened, right? They were about to marry each other, and while they were doing it to protect one another, there was that was unresolved. They decided to open up bottled up feelings, then he
Mhm.
dies, and then he sacrificed 2 years from her. Those are 2 separate incidences that are huge and was never addressed, and to be honest, while those things were big and this conversation was quick, that's all I needed was it to be addressed directly. And but there's an interesting point because when you said, it was like a role reversal and
Mhm.
he was being the Carly, if we run with that, if we run with that, because listen to their conversation. You supported me. And when he
Mhm.
kind of eye rolled, like he literally tantrumed a little bit when she said,
Yes.
I wouldn't have picked her for you. He's like, you see. She's like, but I accept it. Right? So
Okay.
she
Yeah.
said something and he thought, "Oh, we're going down that old path." But
Mhm.
she nipped it. She's like, "I wouldn't have chose her for you, but I'm not gonna get in the way. You've basically let me make bad choices and I'm gonna let you make this bad one." And I thought it was telling because he didn't say anything. So I kind of felt
Yes.
like, "Oh, is this a bad choice? Is Jason finally getting to be a bit of a Carly?" But the thing is, Carly needed Jason a lot. And I'm kind of
Yes.
wondering if we are going to do this role reversal where he's going to be with Britt. I'm just curious how much are we going to parallel? How far are we going to go in this role reversal? Because we have seen Carly's progression to being a bit more independent, living her own life without really needing anyone to kind of like save her, and it's come up a lot. Like I liked it when Britt, like it's so tired, like this is not the like Britt is not the first person to come to Carly and be like, "You've made mistakes too, because we came to the town and read Lucy's book and we heard that you did bad stuff. We're doing bad stuff currently, but you once did bad stuff." It's like you guys are like obsessed. You know?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
she was around for a long time. She did bad things too, but that's not where she is right now. And I kind of like that we're allowing Carly's story to progress in a way that it makes sense, right? Because she was like on a track.
Yes.
And we don't really want her reversing to how needy she was with Jason. Like that part I did not really want to see. Again, it doesn't make sense. But since Jason has missed out on a lot of his life,
Mhm.
I feel like it would make sense for him to be a little discombobulated and maybe need a little bit more support. So I'm curious as to where this goes because, Carly is handling things alone more than he even knows. Like
Well,
she's a sturdy person. She's handling Brennan. She's handling Joss. Like Britt thinks that, she has the secret that Carly doesn't know, and that's not true.
mhm.
So if Carly's the stable one, what's he gonna do when like she ends up with Valentine?
It's gonna be so interesting, but when you were talking, it made me think of, okay, this conversation, how far Carly has come and how far Jason has to go. And remember when Drew came back and he was so like cartoon happy all the time and then he just like cracked? So different version for Jason though, right? Because exactly that. He got popped back into his life. Time moved on. He wasn't in a coma though, but he had to
Mhm.
go through some stuff, but I don't feel he's ever really processed that. So not only is he processing everything that's happened to him, he's also stunted in maturity and reversed 5 years.
A little bit, because when he came in, he kinda just jumped into missions with Anna, right? Like, he was
Yes.
stuck in crisis, and lately, he's been a bit more domesticated, living more of a family life and getting acclimated to his role as single sole parent.
Mhm.
So it is kind of interesting to watch this, but I mean, we've seen Carly, we've seen her try to establish relationships, right? Like she's had
Yes.
marriages where she ran to Jason. We've seen how other men maybe didn't take so much to how close she was with Jason. And wouldn't it be really funny? Because, like, right now, Britt's whole concept, I mean, yes, she says he chooses Carly, but the point is, it's like, Carly, you're obsessed, blah, blah, blah. Like, she has this insecurity about Carly, but what happens when
Mhm.
she notices, like, Jason's reactions, or that Jason's not happy with what she's doing, or that Carly looks like she's living her life, and Jason's the one having a problem with it? That would be really
Mhm.
interesting to see.
Totally agree. Like, I'm here for it. I'm here for the shenanigans. We've already agreed, like Britt's not long term, but to see that, Carly is in a place where she could take care of herself and what
Yeah.
happens next for Jason. What is Jason's emotional and rebuilding journey?
Exactly, and so, like, I don't really know what if Britt is gonna be managing both of these jobs, or she's just gonna disappear into Windermere full time, but who I never expected to see was Peter.
Oh my gosh, that was like not even on the internet. That was on my feed.
It's nice to be surprised for once.
Yes, it was amazing. I was
Yeah.
like, I mean, as a human actor, I really like him.
It was just really funny because he said something and I was like, "What?" And then I loved how Anna responded, "What do you even mean?" Because he starts telling her that death doesn't mean what it used to.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That was so funny, the talk of death, like, in a soap that, like, no one's as dead as they claim to be, and everyone was I found that so amusing, taking that, like, soap opera reality of, like, how people just come back from the dead and just throwing it in there like that. It was really, really funny, but I was starting to believe that, like, Pascal being out of town is, like, he's not out of town, he's just in the catacombs playing different roles, like, he's playing Peter, and he's playing Faison, and he's basically messing with Anna, is what I'm thinking is really going on.
That's what I'm thinking too, and I absolutely loved one of my favorite moments was Lucas's tipsy, like, "Let's take a journey to the catacombs, guys. Bring your bottle of wine.
Oh
Let's go for an adventure."
my gosh, like, do you think he's gonna get it?
Lucas is so lovely in so many ways, but blinded by love,
Well, I mean, to be honest, like, Joss got a lot of intel right then and there,
right?
that it's the catacombs. I mean, she knew the lab would have had to been there. But what did you think about her interactions with Ava?
And you know what? I was, like, mixed emotion because
Mhm.
Ava has come such a far way, and she kept her cool, and you saw, like, Joss's what did I used to call it? Her youth was showing in that
Yeah.
moment, like, she still holds on to very specific ideals of who Ava is, but Ava made it very clear. The thing is about Ava, she's really cheeky when she says normal things. Once they had their conversation, she said something really important that we've said for a long time, like, we have a lot of people in common that we love and care about, and family is chosen. Like, those are, like that's Joss's life, like, she has a lot of family, she has chosen family, and they have a lot of people they love in common. There's more good there than Ava's old school ways.
I'm sorry, but she was so antagonistic, though, from the
I know, that's
get-go.
what I'm saying, though,
She was
like, she's
calling her
saying
out. So, I mean, to be honest, I was like, "What is going on?" Like, a couple of things. I felt Jocelyn was really flustered. So I'm thinking,
yes.
how could she be a good spy for
I
her to
know.
be so flustered? Because she wasn't a spy. She was a really nervous child,
Yes.
with Ava. And I think, I mean, it was just a lot. Like, the way Ava was being, it's like she could have just tried to be genuine. And that's the thing that I kind of didn't really like, because they've had good moments, Jocelyn and her, and she's not wrong when she says, like, I put my feelings aside for Avery. And we know that Jocelyn had a better relationship with Ava at one point, and her and Dex saved Ava. And I think knowing how Ava can be with Trina and how she chose to be with Jocelyn is ridiculous. Like, she was treating her like Carly. And I mean, no one acknowledged how uncomfortable that position was for Jocelyn. Like, she's not a full grown adult. Her relationship with her mom is complicated. She's close with her, but can't be because of her choices that she made. She knows that Lucas is in a dangerous position because of Jen Sidwell and possibly his son as well. She doesn't think he's safe there. And then you have Ava luring her relationship and her title as like his family against Jocelyn, saying, I'm blood. Yes, she said that our family is chosen and you don't need blood, and she used Trina. But I mean, she also could have tried to connect with her. She's capable of connecting, but she chose an antagonistic approach. And for me, I was just like, yeah, okay.
I like it, but I'm blaming it on the martini.
We can blame it on the martini, but it's also weird, right? Because
It was
you're
weird.
just
For
showing up
sure.
at Windermere just 'cause, like, it's Jen's is a bit of a financial target for her. So I just felt like she was the adult and she cares about Lucas, and she could have chosen a very different route, but she chose to play the I plant my flag here. So I wasn't like, I love Ava, but I wasn't taken with that in that moment. She's really not just planting her flag with Lucas, but also at Windermere. Like, she did it with Valentine, and she did it with Lucy.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
Lucy, like, "I'm gonna be here." So I wasn't so keen on those scenes. And also Jocelyn, better poker face?
I know. Like, yes, I do agree. Like, it was all very weird. Ava definitely has endgame when it comes to Windermere and what this all means for her. So it's going to be really interesting because, like we said last week, like everything is coming to a head. At the end of the day, like, what role does Ava play when it comes to this whole big Windermere cold fusion situation?
Exactly, vague and just another puzzle piece. And I mean, to be fair, I don't agree with how far Joss was going. Like, you could have your feelings, and I think they're fair given her history with Morgan, but there's been a lot of history since then. And saying that Ava can't love is not necessarily true. So I guess I just like these women on the same page versus at odds.
I agree.
Speaking of at odds, again, Stella, when is this woman gonna learn her lesson? Butt out. Butt
Truly.
out.
It's
Like,
ridiculous.
what bothered me so much is when Stella went to Portia and being like, "So, was it worth it?" And I'm like, "Talk about distorting the truth. What do you mean, was it worth it? Was it worth being married to a guy who told you that he could move past the whole Trina lie and was lying about that and couldn't move past it, and then was turning away to Jordan because that's always easier when you fight with your wife, go to your ex-wife,
Mhm.
and telling Portia that that wasn't an issue, then choosing together to end your marriage. Then after you decided to end your marriage, you then slept with another guy and you got pregnant. Was it worth it? It's like, what do you mean? Like, the
I
fact
know,
that
right?
there's no recognition of like Curtis's part in all of this and the whole anti-Portia thing, it's like basically what? If she didn't get pregnant, all this would be fine.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
I was glad that, Isaiah, again, he's a good lover,
A good mister.
doing all the right things. I'm glad that he, like, stood up to Stella because these are grown people, and Curtis isn't innocent in all this, and I feel like Curtis is innocent because Portia got pregnant. I
Honestly,
don't know who the
yes.
dad is, and I'm like, how does that erase what he did?
What
He
he's doing, much
Yeah.
less.
They're not officially divorced, and he started a relationship. So did she. He didn't want her, and rather than tell her that, he just kept showing her that in their marriage and making her feel like
Right?
crap because he couldn't admit that, like, right after they got married, he couldn't handle it because he got shot and she took care of him.
Yep.
So then he was like, "Well, I can't say I don't like you now.
It just feels weird.
I need a place to live." So take care of me. So all of that is just a lot, but I'm guessing Portia essentially is going to be like reinstated at this point and Stella can just, stay out of it.
Exactly.
I'm annoyed. I really don't want the baby to be Curtis's.
Oh my gosh, me neither. It can't be. It really cannot.
But it'll be Curtis's and she'll just take it away again.
Well, it'd be great if it was Curtis's and then she just said it was Gannon's. I mean, why not just follow history?
But I think that's probably likely. Like, that's more soapy, but I would rather it be okay. This is one other route is that it's Gannon's and then it drives Curtis crazy and then he goes crazy a little bit.
I like that. Does he like dabble in drugs? Because isn't that the problem he had before?
Not like that, but more like becoming fixated on Portia. Like, for me, the root of the story was Curtis never valued her, right? He felt that
Yeah.
because she made a mistake, it made her like an object. You have to be perfect. And if you're imperfect in any way or you lie, you hurt me. Like, when he's in a relationship, it's very one sided. It's a lot about how you treat me and not so much how he treats the other person. Like, I think he recognizes that he's not very gray, but I feel like with Portia, definitely he didn't treat her like a person. And she was always on edge and walking on eggshells because he
Yeah.
can't cross Curtis in any way. And so for him, he literally actually treated her like an object. Went to Britt being like, oh, can I have the test? Like she was like an incubator. And then you have Isaiah defending her. And to Curtis, he just couldn't like fathom that while he did not value Portia and he doesn't really care for her in that way, but that someone else does. So I think for me, that would be the story is that all of a sudden, someone else valuing Portia, it drives him crazy because that's his MO, right? Like I bounce from one ex-wife
Yeah,
to
the ping
another.
pong.
So I feel like he'll just ping pong one more time. One more time. That's what he'll do.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Oh my,
hoping for anyway.
did we cover all the things and talk about all the stuff?
I think so.
Yes, we did. Okay, I do have a line that I really enjoyed. It was by Tracy, and she said, which is so freaking accurate and such a good line, karma and justice rarely line
Yeah.
up so nicely.
That was so good. But the fact that she thought Jason could do it, it's like, guys, it was just them two together and no bullets were involved. So Jason wasn't involved.
I know, she really doesn't understand his craft.
No, it's crap. But I like it. After she like couldn't hold, like she messed up his alibi, right? She got tricked. Now you want to hand out more alibis? No
I
one's
know, I was
taking
like,
your
come on.
alibi. No one's taking your alibi, Tracy.
She's no alibi hero, let me tell you.
No, no. I actually have another favorite line.
Tell me.
It's from Ava when she was talking with Trina about Drew. And because she was worried, like, will he make it or whatever? And she's like, heaven won't take him and hell's
Oh
full.
my gosh, that's so good.
Yeah, that was good.
I love that. And a cute moment that I really like is when Rocco was going in for his community service and Melissa was like, here, you're gonna need this. It's gonna be like so messy and gross. And then he gets to be the art teacher.
I know. I was like, okay, that was really dramatic. I'm like, everyone's gonna throw up on him. And then he got to kind of do Franco's whole thing. So I thought that was really cute because it made me think of Franco.
Exactly. It was so adorable. I love the nod. It was great.
Yeah.
Stars. We giving stars to these.
I'm gonna give a star. Oh, can I just skip and just say my cutie pie moment?
Absolutely. Then everybody's gonna get stars. Well,
Everyone's gonna
Drew's
get
face
stars.
is even Drew's face.
Yeah, those were funny. Watching him be like stunned that he wasn't the center of the universe.
Oh, the only person that doesn't get a star is the WSB director.
Yes. But now I'm
Oh.
wondering, what does Britt understand of this? Because she obviously knows he's the director of the WSB and he's working with Jens. I don't get it. I guess she knows he's really dangerous. That's why she was maybe iffy with Joss and Vaughn, maybe?
Maybe.
Anyway, so I have one. So when I'm thinking cute, I'm thinking Laura and her favorite daughter, Elizabeth.
So good. It was so
Right?
cute. I love how she is with Laura. They are family, but still they're chosen family to be in each other's lives in this way.
Exactly.
It was such a beautiful moment. I
And I
totally agree.
relating on the fact that like she's experienced like her house being empty and she understands what Laura's going through was really sweet. And she was so done up. That was like a big flowy skirt.
I know. I was like, oh, it's so nice seeing you out of your scrubs and in
Yeah.
like normie clothes.
Yeah.
I loved it. Oh my gosh, we did it. We covered everything. Folks, wait, what
Stars.
is your handle?
Okay, so first I'll say the handle, which is at Cutie Pie Coloring. You can find the Cutie Pie Coloring book on Amazon. So if anybody has little kids or for gift giving, it's definitely a fun gift. So you can also go directly on Amazon for it or check it at Cutie Pie Coloring just to see what we have. And it's also available on our Instagram page. As for stars, just everybody, I think a star to Pier being back, Portia standing up for herself. I don't know what Anna's doing, so we'll give her one because I don't think she has anything else. Willow, because that whole storyline, like
Yes.
Nina, Willow, Kyle, like Trina, like everybody involved in that storyline. And Lucas for being a fun drunk despite his lack of awareness.
Oh, 1000%. I love that. And I have to say about the Cutie Pie coloring book, it's not just for kids. I'm not going to lie. I do steal my kids' books every now and then because I know they have those great adult coloring book, but they're far too intricate for my wanting to color something with lots of space. So I
No,
very
for
much
real, yeah.
enjoyed it as well.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh, we did it, folks. That's a wrap. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye bye.
Bye.